Now the last thing we're going to do is put in our dimensions. Our dimensions have a great deal to do with our specifications. You all have this sheet as part of the back page of your design brief. So if I look at this, it says use this as an example of where to put your dimensions. Not only that, but I have explanations on here of what each one of these things means. So for instance, this one is the thinnest part between the axles and the top view. I've got another one over here. Height of the axles from the bottom of the block. All right, so it tells you exactly what each one of these is. So I highly recommend that you look at this sheet. I want to be able to look at these drawings and find these dimensions right away, because basically everybody's putting them in roughly the same locations. So I go back to AutoSketch, and now I started out, and of course I use my old friend Zoom Box, and now I'm going to just kind of work my way around. Here I'm going to put in my measure vertical dimension. This is the skinniest part of my car on the top view. Oh man, it's supposed to be black and it's red. So I go undo, black, and then I get back in there and I'm going to put it back on, and it's 3/4 of an inch. Okay, hey, that's great. That's more than the spec says it needs to be. All right, it's more than 1/2 of an inch. Here, this is the fattest part of my car, 1 5/8. Everybody should have that, because everybody's car should be the same width. At the axles, it's 1 5/8 inches at both the front and the back axle. That's the widest part of your car. Now this is the total height of the car off of the block, off of the bottom of the block. Well, if I look at this, there it is, right there. So I can even look across here and look at where that is on the ruler. It's at 2 1/4. I line it up with my other one, go right through the word axle line, and it's 2 1/2. I misspoke a little bit earlier. And then I scroll across here. That was a big, huge scroll that I didn't want to do. This is really hard for me to scroll when I'm making these videos. So I'm trying to find what is my narrowest point between the axles. If I don't know, I could take a couple of measurements. I'm going to do this with a line dimension. For me, that's what works. So from here to here, I'm going to try to get as perpendicular as possible to those two lines. I think that's it. 5/8, okay, and then I've got another skinny spot right here. I'm going to pop out of snap to do that, so I've got it right. So out of snap, get it perpendicular to the two lines. 9/16. 9/16 is less than 5/8 of an inch, so I'm going to go here, modify, erase. I'm going to erase the line, and then if I get on that little tick mark that is made, it's right here, you can barely see it, that will erase those things. So I keep the 9/16, and now I scroll across a little bit more. I'm going to put in a couple of vertical things. This I'm going to go back to measure, vertical dimension, then get back into snap. I really want to be in snap when I do this almost all the time. What is the height of my axle line? Well, it's right there. 3/8 of an inch. Everybody should have the same thing. I'm going to go to view, zoom sheet. Now I'm going to measure. I'm going to get back into Zoom Box, and I'm going to measure the length of my car. It shouldn't touch anything. The dimension shouldn't touch anything, but I'm really being careful to get it right. And what is the length between the axle lines? Well, that's easy. It's just projection line to projection line without those things touching one another. And I'm set!